Testing, testing, one, two, three. Is this thing on? Do you read me? Over. Can you hear the music okay? The music is intended to be low. I just want it kind of quiet in the background, just subtle background. Hey, welcome Eduardo, Mike, Atlam, Loremaster, and Morgrim. Welcome to Mapmaker Monday. How's everyone doing today? My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Just want to welcome you all to an amazing Mapmaker Monday. Want to say hello to first-time chatter, Loremaster TTV. Loremaster was my favorite class in Lotro. Played the crap out of that game and that class. Very much love me a wizard. Hey, Sariel, how you doing? Seisu, how's it going, my friend? Brandon Brimmer, hello, tuning in from YouTube, new user. Well, welcome, welcome. To all the new faces, I'd like to say welcome to chat. We are simul-streaming, multi-streaming across like 6 different platforms right now. We are on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Kick, Trovo, and Twitter. I was having trouble getting Steam to connect. We'll try next time for Steam. But I am testing some new multi-streaming software and chat stuff. The chat actually looks a lot clearer with this new setup, so I'm kind of excited about that. How you doing today, Seisu? Coco, welcome. Thank you. Miss you. Can you close that? Man, we've got a lot of people from YouTube today. Well, I just want to welcome you all. Today's stream is called Mapmaker Monday. Every Monday, I sit down and build a map live on stream for people to watch, learn, participate in the building process. The cool thing about these streams is I have over 2,000 hours of building maps with Dungeon Alchemist. So you get to learn a lot of cool tips and tricks on the fly. And you can ask me questions. Think of these streams as an AMA format, which means at any time during the stream, you can ask questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I'd just like to say welcome, Damn Fam, and I hope your week is off to a great start. How was everyone's weekend? Did you do anything interesting? Did you get any game time in? How about prep time? Your boy Mac did a little bit of work this weekend on the map to finish it up, some finishing touches. I told you I'd be putting the QR codes in the map. So for those that haven't seen this map before, new users in the community, every Monday I've been building a massive map as a tribute to an ongoing map making contest we host every other Saturday. It's kind of a combo contest between the streams and our Discord. So the contest is called the Dam Challenge. As many of you know, when you save a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it saves as a .dam file. That's short for Dungeon Alchemist Map. That's our proprietary map format. Now, we have a few things that lean into that: the Dam Stream, the Dam Challenge, etc. So the Dam Challenge is a map-making contest. You can enter. To enter, basically you submit a map to our Discord. The current challenge is 1 hour or less. So you have to make a map from the time you hit, create, till the time you finish is 1 hour or less. The map can be anything you want, as long as it took an hour or less. I have made the exception that if you want to prep before on paper, like maybe draw out a sketch or have some notes that you want to follow when you get started, you can do that outside of the hour. But once you start DA and hit create, you only have an hour. If your map is the winning map, your map is the first map featured on our Dam Challenge stream, which happens to be every other Saturday. You get about 30 minutes of FaceTime with your map. People get to check out your work. In addition to that, you get a $10 Hero Forge gift card, and your map is promptly featured in our weekly newsletter called the Cartomancer Chronicles. So we intend to show off maps, and here it gets a lot of eyes on them. People download them, check them out. And then lastly, getting to the point of this gallery. This gallery is essentially a living tribute to every member of this community that has won a Dam Challenge. Each one of these rooms is a past Dam Challenge winner. So if you look at the room on the outside, there is a little painting that has a QR code that goes to the Steam Workshop page for the map. The name of the map, the creator of the map. Inside, you have a top-down export of the map and scenic shots from inside the map at various angles. And then lastly, I handpicked 2 props from each map to put on display as part of the room as well. So each of these rooms is kind of like a little museum gallery tribute to a past winner of the Dam Challenge. There's 47 rooms at the moment. Well, 46. This will be 47. We had a winner on Saturday, so I need to put the new winner in here. Isn't that just nuts? So when this is all said and done, I'll upload it to the workshop, and everyone in our community can open the map and walk around it and browse it like a real gallery. You'll be able to pop a token in it and check it out. Maybe you want to go download this map, take a picture of the QR code. They all work. Oh, Medic, it happens sometimes. No worries, at least you're here today. Welcome back, my friend. But each of these maps are essentially very, very amazing, beautiful maps that were more often than not handmade, but with incredible detail, meticulous detail. And I wanted to essentially give those maps a sort of, I don't know, a longer lifespan. They deserve more eyes on them. People should see all these amazing maps and the works involved with them. So this gallery is a way to kind of give the people who made their maps more credit. You know what I mean? Yesterday, I spent about 2 hours compressing all of the images in this map into smaller images. So I compressed them down by like anywhere from 1/3 to 1/5. So they're 33%, 20% to 33% of the size they used to be. So this map used to be about 400 megabytes in totem because there's over 230 images in it. Each of those images adds to the size. There's like 50 megabytes in 3D models in this map too that are from different maps that I kind of chose assets specifically from those maps, and it kind of bit me because this one's like 30 megabytes alone. But I got it down to each room is only about 3 megabytes or less. Yeah, so I'm testing out a different multi-stream software. So Streamlabs has improved their multi-stream setup to support vertical and horizontal, so landscape and portrait streaming simultaneously, which is something I've been looking for a while. The multi-stream service I was using before, Restream, didn't really support it unless you were paying out the nose, and it's just something that it wasn't worth it for us at the time. Streamlabs actually just announced a partnership with TikTok to link your account and be able to stream to TikTok through Streamlabs. So I'm in the process of attaching our TikTok to our Streamlabs account. Basically, I want to be able to stream to all our major platforms simultaneously and in the platform's preferred format. So on Instagram and TikTok, it would be vertical, and on all the others, it would be landscape. And I was just reading yesterday that YouTube actually now supports vertical streaming and landscape. So I could do both simultaneously, technically, on YouTube if I wanted to. But the point is I upgraded to a different service. The service seems to be a lot better. I actually love Streamlabs. I've been using them for years. Great piece of kit. When I changed over to Restream, I was using completely different software, which is actually the kind of basis foundation for Streamlabs called OBS, which is great. I love it. But it's a little bit more intensive and doesn't have quite as much online support as Streamlabs does for notifications, chat, all that stuff. And so I'm using their chat setup, and I'm not going to lie, it looks a lot cleaner, and the labeling is very good. I appreciate you pointing that out, Medic, because honestly, I was a little nervous as to how the reception of it would be. Seisu, do you feel like it looks better now? Like cleaner? Because Seisu was one of the biggest, let's just say, not a complainer, but I would say he's the person who pointed out these things the most in the past. An advocate for change. Anyway, moving on to this build, I have very little left. Most of it is just finishing touches. I've made this map to be modular so I can expand it a row at a time as the map grows, because as we add new entries. Yeah, I think it looks sharper, and the labeling's cleaner too. Person with strong opinions. I think it looks sharper, cleaner, and the icons are cleaner. That's kind of the thing, is it is better in my opinion. I noticed it right off the bat, but I wasn't sure until someone said it. Anyway, moving on, this new stream software I'm hoping will give us more functionality as far as like possibly even hosting giveaways and chat commands across all platforms and other things of that nature, which I'm growing into as we go. Anyway, I just barely set it up the last few days. I spent like 3 days getting it all configured, and now I've been kind of fine-tuning it. So today's stream was the first real test, if you will. Critique is a good word. Just a little early for me, and my brain ain't braining. You know when you're still on your first cup of coffee, and then the cogs in your brain are like starting to turn, but they're not fully moving yet? So essentially my plan is to add little like minutia, things like statues in these little odd ends, or like maybe benches, because they're like dead hallways right now that will lead somewhere eventually. But I'm thinking that, you know, even now I could just wall off this section and just leave it blank or whatever. But benches, signs occasionally in the hallway, maybe even letters or numbers on each hall. So you like know, oh, this is row F. You know what I mean? So little details like statues, signage, paintings will be things I'm going to add. I'm going to finish up this room, and I have another room over here that's I think y'all will get a kick out of. So this will be the 48th winner when we hit 48 2 weeks from now. So it's got some construction or some caution tape, and it says under construction outside. I thought that was a neat little touch. Coco, thank you for this. By the way, if you're still here, appreciate the label. I really loved your map, by the way. This was like one of my favorite parts right here. The little person inside the glass case. By the way, the nettle soup or whatever, this was very cool. And I liked that just you really went out, you went like knocked it out of the park in your like presentation. I've always thought of giants as kind of like haphazard, like sloppy creatures, but you had their table set so beautifully, it makes me second guess it. Sailor Yugoth, my man, how you doing? Man, right now it says we have 111 viewers across all platforms. I don't know how true that is, but if that's tracking correctly, that's insane. These giants have class. They're cloud giants. Beep pop. How you doing, cartographer? Welcome, welcome, my friend. Well, I actually need to open up your map, Sailor Yugoth, to take some pictures, so let's get that part done really quick. Probably gonna have to download some assets. I unsubbed this morning from all assets and maps, and then resubbed just a couple. I do that before every stream, typically, because if you are subbed to lots of assets, the more you're subbed to, they load into your RAM as you load maps, even if you're not loading those individual assets, so they can slow down your machine depending on how much RAM you have. So you want to trim your assets down to just the minimal, you know. So I'm going to have to take a few shots from this map. We're going to do a top-down export, and then a few scenic shots at angles. And then we need to pick 2 props from the map. Yeah, 71 megabytes isn't bad at all. Honestly, I'm not complaining. I'm just more educating the community. My computer can handle it, but if you're noticing your DA is running slow, maybe it doesn't boot like it used to, or the maps take forever to load, definitely unsub from assets, because the assets on the workshop aren't necessarily as heavily optimized as the ones we make. Hey Rev, how you doing? Welcome back. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. So let's do the top-down export first. Oops. We're going to do an image only, no grid. And we'll just keep it low quality to keep the size down. I believe he said it took about 71 hours or so, or 70 hours or so. I really like that you combine the element from the previous map, essentially the walking fortress or castle kind of thing you made before. You just made a new iteration of it. Yeah, this map is something else for sure. Oh my goodness, really? You know, Medic, that is kind of a bummer that they didn't know we stream, but I think we're trying to make it more known, our social presence. You know, not everyone will buy a piece of software or a game and then, like, follow all the social platforms and dive into it full, you know, like, face first and get way into the content around it. And so I understand that. One thing we're going to improve on is more content on our Steam page, because there's been a lot of critique about that lately, and I actually didn't even have access to post on our Steam page until like 2 months ago. So we're changing things and making it so I have more functionality across our platforms and can do more. And we're going to be doing things like a monthly newsletter on Steam, more streams on Steam, just more interactivity there in general, just to keep people involved there. Additionally, you know, we have all our social networks and stuff, but we're kind of in the calm before the storm between updates, where my build is kind of scuffed. I can't do any teasers from the update because it's just not looking good. Pretty much everything I do in it crashes or breaks or has issues. So I can't provide teaser content, and so essentially I'm just posting stuff that everyone has access to, or maybe new news and announcements. I will say this, I had a meeting this morning with Carl, and I'll be straight up honest with you guys. It's looking like there might be a large delay. And I am saying this in all honesty and transparency. 2 weeks ago, well, about a month ago, I discovered a bug. I pointed it out to Wim and Carl, and at the time they brushed it off because they thought it was more dependent on my build and it was just a simple asset bug. And I brought it up again, and they're like, oh, you're still having this problem? And I was like, yes. And so they took a closer look at it. Come to find out, it's actually a very big bug. The little bug I saw that was really only present in my build, which was like, I'm the only person in our dev team that has a build like this, is essentially a limiter within Unity. And we hit it. It's a big bug. So what the bug is essentially Unity has a limit of how many assets can be in a certain like splinter of a build at any point, at any time live. Usually games get around this by having levels. They load a new level, that splinter has different assets, right? Dungeon Alchemist doesn't do that. We don't have levels or scenes, or, you know what I mean? It's just one big application with everything in it. So there's a few things, there is a fix, but it's going to take a lot of work and some time, and as a result of which, a lot of other things are going to have to be fixed too. And Carl is almost positive that end of May is not going to happen. It might lean into June, or maybe even later at this point. And I know just a few days ago we were talking about end of May, because just a few days ago that was the talk in the team, in our chats and discussions, and, you know, was that, but it did change. I personally want to apologize for discovering this bug and setting us back, but at the same time, I'd rather us launch in a solid state than with a massive bug. So I am directly responsible for this delay. But at the same time, it was a big bug that needs to be fixed, or we would just have tons of problems with DA. And let me explain what the bug is. Essentially, assets would turn invisible or be missing surfaces. Assets from old updates would be invisible, like trees. So you generate a biome, half the trees would be missing. You'd go to generate an object, some of the surfaces would be missing. It was easier to figure out which objects weren't broken than which ones were, because so many were broken. And I honestly just found out about that this morning. So a delay is most likely imminent at this point. How long, when, till, what will be entailed with it? It's just bad. All I can say. So my personal apologies for being a tech harbinger that always seems to find the worst ways to break things. I mean, I can't even put a bug in things. I don't have access to the Unity build side. They don't give me that. They won't give me enough access to break anything. They send me a safe build over Steam that's like a beta build that I can access. That's it. Hey, Bane, how you doing, buddy? Welcome back. It's more like Mapmaker Monday, but it's a damn Mapmaker Monday stream. So, I'm trying to think what would be a good scenic shot in this. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm thinking one of this, like, mobile oppression palace here is a good one. We can kind of get it at, like, an angle like this. Yes. So you can see the castle wall, you see the encampment. I like that. It's good thirds. I know. You can say it too as much as you want. I honestly would much rather under promise and over deliver than over promise and under deliver. I'd much rather be transparent and explain exactly where we are. And I think it's very important with such a small team that we do tell you exactly where we're at and, you know, where we think we'll be and how development's coming along. I apologize that there is a delay, or will most likely be a delay at this point. And I apologize for my hand in it. Trying to find the best shot. That looks pretty cool. We'll take a few shots on this map. Try and get, like, a bunch of neat angles. Like, the city gates look epic. Why not get one of those, right? So, I'll show you guys and gals how he did the window here. It's a Japanese lamp. Dyrozix, the best way to approach a map with that much verticality is just separate maps for separate floors. So build floor 1 has the outside, maybe the first floor. Floor 2 is the next floor. Floor 3, and these are all separate scenes or maps within your VTT or printed maps. There really isn't a virtual tabletop that offers a native solution for multi-level built right into it. And by that I mean a stock, no modifications, no modules, no expansions, no plugins that does it natively. So because it requires usually third-party support from community making modules, there isn't any standardization yet about how to approach an export for that. We do at some point want to support multi-level, multi-floor building, and we're alpha testing, early alpha testing that in the behind the scenes, like multi-floor builds and how to approach the exports for it. Right now, it seems like the only thing we'll be able to do is essentially each floor is a separate export. It's like a cut, a slice, or a layer. And each layer exports individually as its own floor, and each of those would be an individual JPEG and a new map. So it'd be exactly the approach I'm telling you to do it now. Each floor, just a separate map. The only difference would be they'd all be on one. Honestly, that's the thing, is the technology isn't there yet for virtual tabletops to fully support multi-level. And when it gets there, I'm sure we'll come up with a solution to work with it. But in the interim, we're kind of playing chicken with those developers as they standardize these things. Like, I heard Foundry is going to be integrating the levels module and making it stock. Foundry, a lot of times, they'll take a module that's very popular and make it part of the stock Foundry, like it's built into it. So if they do that, that gives us more motivation to support that. Whereas if it's a module, a third-party module, the person creating that, supporting it, could just up and give up on that or lose interest, or, you know, for any reason, they just stop developing it, and then it's toast. And then we have no longer support for something that we put money and time into. But yeah, Bane is correct. Honestly, you got to think about the player experience too. I mean, it's the weakest link in your play group. One of your players more than likely either has throttled data or limited data with their ISP, or maybe a potato internet plan, or alternatively, maybe not a great computer. So you always are balancing these things where the quality of your build and the image quality of your maps, the video quality, the size, the intricacy, balanced with that weakest link in the chain of your play group that has those immersion issues because they can never load maps correctly or always has problems. So, okay, so Dyro, you do play locally. That makes sense. That makes more sense. But even then, I would still just load each map as a new floor. Once they go to that staircase, load up the new floor. You know, just like a load scene in a game. But yeah, for right now, there really isn't native support for it. You can do some verticality, as you can see here. There is definitely elevation. It is quite possible to have verticality in a build, but it's all by hand at this point. So if you want any multi-floor support, you're going to be stacking objects on top of each other like Lego, making sure everything lines up correctly, the staircases and the floors above them. And then you're going to have to pull apart each of those maps in real time if you're playing in DA, just so they can access those floors. It's actually more of a pain than having them as separate maps. Oh, right, Bane? Man, the average game update is so huge nowadays. I stopped playing Call of Duty because the game took up like 2/3 of my Xbox. Just like, no, I can't do this anymore. Oh, it's a beautiful map. Seriously, honestly, Sailor, you got this thing is stunning. You really knocked it out of the park with it. I honestly, like, was tickled just exploring this map. It gave me a lot of surprises and smiles throughout the exploration and just checking it out. But essentially, all Sailor Yugoth does is just disable collisions, right? And then he'll take objects and just hold control and stack them, or let them snap into place. If you hold control, the object no longer snaps, right? You can also rotate it better if it's no longer snapping. So essentially, he'll take it, kind of put it where he wants it, or raise it up and down, and gets it just right. And that's how these floors are built. It's just lots of stacking. Lots and lots of stacking. Kind of like Lego or blocks, which I'm sure most if not all of us, have some experience with Lego or blocks. So essentially, they just do layers or new map scenes. So essentially, it would be new maps per layer, right? Is that what you're saying, Atlam? I'm trying to understand. Yeah, so it is essentially what we would do for our exports, which is, you know, just a map, a layer, or slices. I'm gonna get a good. Oop, accidentally. F. You know what I might do? I'm gonna change it to night. Tell you why. There's a good chance the moon could be in the shot. Yes! Yes! Anytime you can do a night shot, do yourself a favor, because not only is the skybox present, but the moon is just a great serene piece to add to almost any shot. It really just makes you look like a better photographer. Essentially like layers in any photo editing program. Yeah, the night skybox is beautiful. By the way, I just turned off all the lights on this map simultaneously. So I just found this one fire and I turned it off. And then I hit Control C or Command C if you're on Mac. And then I copied the properties of the object, i.e. the object is turned off or doing nothing, just kind of smoldering. And then I Control V'd and went across the entire map and every light turned off because of this. You can do the same thing, turning on all lights, changing their color. And this doesn't just apply to lights. You could do this to open or close all doors, disable or enable all animations on a map. You can change, let's say you place a bunch of abstracts, you can change the image on all the abstracts simultaneously. But look at this camp down here after I do this. Watch. Back to this lamp. Forgot to turn it back on. I turn the light on, Control V, just drag across this entire space. Any light that is in this space will turn on. So watch the camp down in the bottom right corner there. It just lit up. That's smart. Yeah, you can disable like all the lights in an area or all the lights in a map. Another thing too to help you speed up stuff is if you disable natural animations, that'll disable like the flow of the trees and like water flowing and stuff like that. Anyway, we got some good pictures in this map, so let's go back to our other map and we'll put those pictures in there. But before I do, I need to pick 2 assets. I unfortunately cannot build this massive thing because that'll take me forever, as much as I would like to include that. I'm thinking there's this glowing tree back here. That could be cool. Is orange smoke near campfires bug or feature? You mean the smoldering? Like this? The smoke matches the light color from the fire. So, I mean, you could change the color to a bunch of different ones. I honestly, the particle effects are outside of my job scope. I would imagine they're usually intentional. But that being said, the particle effects for DA have evolved a lot since we first launched, and they've gotten much better. And so some of the older assets may have bugs or things with them that they plan to make better. I don't know. Smoke color can match what it's burning as. So, like, if it's a magic, like if you're burning something in it that is making the fire red, the smoke typically matches to a degree. Like if you burn, anyway, just kind of throwing that out there. But yeah, it is kind of weird. It seems like there's a spotlight aiming up, and it's changing the color. So I'm thinking one of these banners, right, would look good, and then the spruce. So we can grab a tree and then put. It looks like what is this thing under it? Put in it. Is that just an effect? Like, what is that? What is that circle spinny thing? I'm trying to figure out what that is. Is something in that rock? Oh, you know what it is? Yep, it is. It is the eternal flame effect, huh? That's what it is. I rarely use that, so. But that'll work. So I'll do a banner and the tree. Hey, Medic, we all have our own skills when it comes to art. And art is subjective, so whatever art you make, be happy with it. Let's go back to your room. Here in my car, I feel safest of all. Pretty sure it was this one. I'm gonna disable collisions. Yep, of course. So we're gonna have to do some trickery to resize this. believe it was like that color blue. Was that it? Now let me show you some trickery as to how to resize an object that can only be mounted on a wall. You see this right here? Where it shows you can't resize it? There's a few exclusive objects that kind of have fixed sizes. So things that are either attached to the floor, like a well, something that mounts a hole into the ground, or something that fixes onto the wall, like a lantern or a painting, they typically cannot be resized, right? But if you make a wall, if you put the object on the wall, right, like it's meant to be. So here it is attached to a wall, and this object happens to be a freestanding wall that can be resized. You find yourself in a unique situation where the object can, in fact, be rescaled. And it's crazy because these types of things are literally the driving force behind changes to DA. Many of you are kind of new to our community, but back in the day, you didn't have the option to rescale objects, like unlocking and rescaling objects up as high as you wanted or as small as you wanted. You had limitations. They could kind of hit an upper limit or a lower limit, or they couldn't be resized at all. And this was a dev choice, but our community was very unhappy with that, and they found workarounds to fix this problem. So if you place an object on top of another object, for instance, like a rug or a floor panel, and you put something on top of it, then you resize that floor panel, the object on top of it resizes too. But this even works if the object was already at its max size or its smallest size. So people would overscale and underscale objects using this trick. And the devs were like, fine, we'll give you the option to finally do what you want, and resize the objects. I'm hoping in Fun with Objects, which is one of our future updates, the devs will unlock object scaling and rotation and a bunch of other stuff across the board. It would be cool. Oops. Was it? Yeah, it looks like that tree. Come on. I got an idea for this. To make that so much less intense. This is going to be brilliant. Watch this. Perfect. That looks a lot better. Cool. I think it looks pretty good. A little bright, but, you know. I'm going to save this, and that's the last room for now. So now it's just a matter of finishing touches. So what I was thinking of doing is putting some cool objects that are from the Kickstarter back here, like a display, a few objects that are back here, just kind of like neat. And then as the gallery expands, I just move this display back. Christmas lights. How you doing, Ron? Welcome back. What's the difference between these? Rounded edges and soft and hard edges. I see it now. Okay. So one has hard edges and one has soft edges. So that you can like blend it together to make a longer bench. Yep, the plan is to start a more kind of community-friendly project that is more beneficial to learning things. So essentially, sorry, let me hurry and delete these benches and then we'll talk more about it. I'm going to be doing a project next that's like how to build a custom tavern or how to build a cave, you know, something like that. That's a little bit more focused on community needs instead of a long-term. It kind of is like Clue, but much more massive. Instead, this is more like a museum, a living tribute to winners of a contest we've been hosting for almost 2 years on our stream here. We host an ongoing map-making contest called the Dam Challenge every 2 weeks. The current Dam Challenge is 1 hour or less, so you use that as inspiration. You make a map in 1 hour or less. If your map is the winner, you get a $10 Hero Forge gift card. Your map is featured on our Dam Challenge stream, and your map is put up in this gallery. By the way, welcome OS Mastresda Taverna. But I do think after this, I'm probably going to approach a project that would be more beneficial to the general community. That way, you know, whoever is, you know, watching can actually make something out of it. Like this here was actually more of a challenge. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Remy who was like, hey, you need to make a gallery or a museum. And then I just kind of took it to like the next level. Masters of Tavern. Nice. Good to know. Good to know. But I'm open to suggestions, Coco. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do really love making kind of grandiose scale maps. I always kind of forget that it's supposed to be simple, and then I go crazy. Just noticing that these have mismatched. One's rounded and one's not, so I'm gonna fix that. Before, I was wondering what the differences were, and man, my DA is like chugging at the moment. I was gonna lower it to medium. So, Chaotician Writer, this is a museum, essentially, a massive gallery. This is not even really a practical map in any sense. I wouldn't expect anyone to play on this. If anything, the practicality of this map is to use it as a living showcase of maps that won an ongoing map-making contest we host. So every 2 weeks we host what's called the Dam Challenge. Users are challenged to make a map following a certain theme. They have 2 weeks to make and submit a map. The winner, we picked a winner pretty much every 2 weeks for the last couple of years. There was a time where the challenge was weekly, and then we slowed it down to bi-weekly. But each of these rooms has a top-down map of the map that won, screenshots from the map that won, and kind of cool assets from the map that won. And then on the outside, a QR code that directs you to the Steam Workshop page of the map, the title of the map, and the creator. So essentially, there's 47 rooms right now, and I've designed this museum to be modular. As more and more winners are added, I can add more rows. But it just goes on and on and on. We added the latest winner today, right here. So each of these rooms is a winner in the Dam Challenge. And when this map is up on the workshop, people can download it and go browse all of them and check them out. Maybe you want to go download this map, scan the QR code, subscribe to it. Good to go. No, I just call it a living tribute because it's an ongoing build. It'll never be done. I don't think this build will ever truly be done. You know what I mean? And this is kind of a fun way for me to represent the people who have won, represent our community. I showed this to Win the other day, and he's like, how long have you been making this? And I go, am I going to get in trouble if I'm truthful? He goes, well, no, but I'm just genuinely curious. And so I told him that I've been doing this for about pretty much like 3-4 months, every Monday for 3-4 months. And it's like an hour to 2 hours a week. And he's like, oh my, this thing is beautiful. But yeah, so, oh, here's a little concession stand. They've got baguettes, cheese, and wine. So we've got just normal cups, specialized skull cups, and then, of course, the drinking horn helmet. Over here, we have the ticket booth. And then each of these will be a map that says, it'll have a top-down export of the map, and it'll say, you are here, kind of pointing at the location where they are. So essentially, the point of this is to be like a map in an amusement park or a mall that kind of gives you directions, or in a museum. Atlam. I honestly don't know what would be the living thing in here. Now I want to alternate the benches. They're bugging me on this side. So on the other side, the bench out in front of the room is the opposite color. So that's what I'm going to do here. Now Control S. By the way, our next update will feature an autosave feature, so no more rip to your maps. Essentially, autosave, you can set it to intervals of like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, and then it'll automatically save an extra save. Once you have a master save for the map, so once you've named your map and saved it once, if you have autosave on, it'll start creating an autosave in the interval you set it to. And then when it creates a new autosave, it deletes the previous autosave. It just replaces it with a new one, if I'm not mistaken. So you essentially have at least one master save and a recent autosave at all times. Oh, where's Waldo? Could be cool, Roan. Just hiding something in the map. I've got an object I could hide. Put a little Seymour. Where's Seymour? Now, if someone finds Seymour, alternatively, we could just, use Hendrik. Here's Hendrik. I do have to ask, how is the stream quality today? Everyone who's watching on the various platforms, if you could fill me in how it's looking today on your platform of choice, be very appreciative. So if we could get feedback from every platform watching right now, that'd be fantastic. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, anyone who is present. Perfect. Well, at least Twitch is solid. We know that much. Hey, Swifty, how you doing? You're the second person to say that today, Atlam, so that makes me feel good about the changes I made, so I appreciate it. See you, Coco. You're lurking while you're working? Y'all better not get in trouble. I feel bad if you got in trouble while you were watching my stream. Okay, so we've got benches. I was thinking of putting, like, paintings that might have, like, art from DA. So, like, like our cover art, or maybe the different, different stretch goals and stuff. Okay, raise of hands. Who thinks the chat on the stream looks crisper today? Looks better? Looks more... It's easier to read? Or whatever. There's an improvement over previous streams. If you feel that way, raise your hands. Paladin Lord, I would say out of everyone, you probably have, like, the freshest palette here. because you only joined us last Saturday, like on Saturday, right, as a new community member. So you would see the old text the first stream and the new text this stream. So it's straight up, just flip-flopped. So I was thinking maybe something like this. And then we insert, say, art from our various updates like that in it. So it kind of just has little, I guess it's kind of an ad if you think about it. But I guess the point is I'm trying to give this more interactivity between these spaces. Rotating pictures, what do you mean? Like the ability to rotate them on their side? Like a GIF that, oh, gotcha. So like a marquee that changed them every once in a while? Yeah, that would be cool, but I'll be honest with you, it would make DA run so slow. Hmm. That works. That's pretty cool. I like that. However, we're missing one. I'm missing the art for one of them, which is Abandoned Ruins. So I gotta ask the devs about that or dig through my stuff and find it. See if I could find it. Because then I could go Abandoned Ruins, Fata Morgana, Winter Wonderlands, Everything is Lava, Treasury, and then print and delivery on the last aisle. I like that, because then it's like the order of release. I'm going to dig through my art and find my Abandoned Ruins art. I joined the team right as Abandoned Ruins launched. Like, literally, I joined the team, and a week later, Abandoned Ruins launched. And my first job on the team was to make a trailer for Abandoned Ruins. I literally got hired, and the next day, they're like, hey, Matt, can you make a trailer? And I was like, oh, okay, sure. I'll do that. I'll get right on that. And essentially, I had to dive in and start making a trailer immediately. So I know I have the art for it somewhere because that was part of it, but I just got to look for it and find it. Oh, man. This is really cool, though. I like it. Abandoned Ruins didn't have a cover? I swear it did, because the outro of the trailer likely had one. You know, Roan, we're kind of doing one like that right now, if you think about it. Essentially, we are doing a, a 1 hour photo, if you will, a 1 hour map. So I'm thinking, with that in mind, it is kind of that. So I know the outro has it, so I know I have that somewhere. Right now, I can just put that till I get the Abandoned Ruins art. But yeah, honestly, I do like the idea of, a 10 by 10, or instead of a theme that's like Siege, it's more of a design theme instead of a design concept. Does that make sense? Instead of a focused concept of what to build, it's just, hey, build what you want in this space. So, I do like that. And that's why we did the 1 hour one. That's even more open than 10 by 10, because you can make it any size you want, anything you want, as long as it fits in that, that parameter that I've given, which is from the time you hit create map, you have 1 hour to finish it. So once you generate the map, put the egg timer on, and there you go. That'll work. That's perfect. Did you just pull that right from Steam? That's weird. It says it's not an image file. Let me try saving it again. If anything, I'll figure it out later. I know it's an image file. I'm looking right at it. Yeah, it's giving me a crap. I'll figure it out. I know I have this image somewhere. I just gotta find it. It's buried in my stuff. It's just some of my oldest stuff. Trailers. Abandoned Ruins. See the stuff. Yeah, I found it. Just took me a minute to dig through and find it. I need to organize my stuff a little bit. As you can see, after 2 years of being the community manager, things get a little lost sometimes. Boom. There we go. Abandoned Ruins, Fata Morgana, Winter Wonderland, Everything is Lava, Treasury, Print Delivery. Fantastic. I think that looks good. Multi-level water will likely be addressed in Water Worlds, which is one of our planned stretch goal updates. So Water Worlds will likely have, different water types, currents, waterfalls, things like that. I like that. I don't know. It might be easier for them to build multi-level terrain before they address multi-level buildings, but it's possible either or. I would figure like managing water over terrains would be what needs to be fixed there. Like water at different heights, because right now the water is kind of fixed to a specific height. I really like all these little details we're adding. So I compress the images, and when I compress them, if I got any smaller, the QR codes were too hard to scan. They were really inconsistent. But I'm considering compressing these images even more by like half of what they are, so the file size will be even smaller. Because right now this map is like 150 megabytes. If an update addresses that, Sailor Yugoth, it would be fun with objects. Which, I'll be honest with you, we had Wim, the creator of Dungeon Alchemist, on stream the other day for office hours. Last Wednesday, he came in to Discord and hung out with us for, a couple hours. And during that time, he said that most likely, this isn't for sure, but most likely the update after everything is lava, or I mean, not everything is lava, after magic, will be the fun with objects update, which will tackle rotating objects on any axes, doing a lot of stuff with objects. And the funny thing is for a while that update hasn't been addressed or spoken about because there's been this statement from the devs that it just can't be done. So I guess Unity has a problem with rotating objects into negative facings, or what a negative value is what it's called. But the thing is Carl will say something isn't possible and then come back a week later and have a solution. So Wim seems to think that Carl will be able to figure it out because Carl has said numerous times that something's impossible and still manages to figure it out. So I guess it's just kind of a game of chicken they're playing with each other to see, who's right. But ultimately, the devs, if they do address that issue, it will be in that update. Right? That, or, what you need to sell it on is he'll have more time for the family and the wife because he won't have to do as much session prep. Right? Instead of 40 hours a week sourcing and making maps, it's 200 because Dungeon Alchemist is habit forming. Should I do this hammer? Or this cool, like, rogue training door? I feel like there's an Easter egg hiding on this that hasn't been found because Wim used to talk about this asset all the time. That it's just like one of his favorite assets, and I'm just wondering if something's hidden on it that we've never figured out. Exactly, Remy. Unfortunately, you cannot rotate objects on the axes other than what's provided. So you can rotate them like this. You can, scale them. If you disable collisions, you can move them up and down, but you cannot twist and turn them on that opposite axes where you tip them on their side or at an angle. Not yet. We hope to address that in the future, but that is not, right now. I would say if there's an update that addresses it, it would be fun with objects, which I would think would be the most likely to address things like that. Yes and no. I still think it's hard to scale infinitely downward because eventually you hit a point of diminishing returns where you can't move the mouse inward anymore. And scaling upward, it gets hard to scale past the size of the map. So I would say the limiters are, the mouse being able to move outside the map and the mouse pointer getting, bigger than the actual object is that you're scaling, so it makes it hard to use, do anything. But I guess in that context, it really is unlimited because you kind of just can do whatever within the limitations of, the tools available. Well, that's awesome, Roan. That is very cool. Does this look out of place? Like them just sitting on the ground? Should they be on like a plinth or like a stand or something? I'm looking at this and I'm just feeling like we could put it on something like this or like this. Ball. Oh, yeah. What do they call those things? Stanchions or whatever, right? You know what we could do? It's too bad we don't have fancier connected pulls. The triple chain is driving me crazy here. I'm gonna try a few different things. That chain is huge. Oh my goodness. Other than the size, that looks pretty good. I just wish the chain scaled with it. You know? The fact that the chain is massive is funny to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, doesn't it look kind of awkward that it's still so huge? Yeah. I want something a little bit fancier. We could do something like this, like the iron rot. I don't know. I'm not really feeling any solutions we have for this corner at the moment. I'm gonna think on that for a minute. Let my brain stew on this, on possibilities. But yeah, I wish we had like the nice velvety, like, like red carpet stanchions, like you're going to a premiere or something, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Let's check the workshop, shall we? Stanchion, is that what it's called? What are they called? Isn't it called a stanchion? I swear that's what they're called. Oh, stanchion. I spelled it wrong, that's why. Hey! What? What? Okay. Looks like someone came in clutch here. I wish it was red, but this is good enough. Let's try velvet, see if it finds anything. Hmm. Because the rotation point is here and not in the center of this band, it's a little awkward to rotate this. But so close. Shrink them. Distance, right? Yeah, I guess a block and tackle could work. I just kind of wanted something that looked fancier, not so ropey or like worn down, you know? No! I made it too small. Ah! I'll play with this later. Ah! It. I need a minute. My office is getting a little warm. I gotta check the AC, make sure it's set to cool. I'll be right back, okay, everyone? While I step away, we're gonna do a quick ad break.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak Ta, and before...
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him!
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever, find family, kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have to the fabled
Realm of Goyak Ta, please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered Mapmaker, on Steam today.
YouTube, I just got a whole bunch of your messages, like in a big wall. And I apologize. For some reason, your messages weren't coming through until now. So I appreciate you hanging out while I was not paying attention, I guess, to your chat. So I apologize there. I didn't even see you chatting because I just assumed YouTube was slow at the moment. Darn, what the heck happened? Just really delayed chat. So my apologies there. Let's just open up this stream here, see if we can see. My hair is missing on the YouTube side. Unfortunately, Kraken, my hair is missing everywhere. There is no exception to that. I am what you call a bald boy. I definitely do not try to hide it. Asmodeus, are you still watching YouTube? Can you type something really quick and just let me know if it comes through? And yes, a red velvet one would probably be better if that's the case, if they're available. Oh, I know Asmodeus was talking earlier, so I didn't know. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Seisu. Either or. I just know you usually watch Twitch and he's usually watching YouTube. But yeah, cool. Awesome. I'm just wanting to make sure that the chat's coming through because it's not come through the whole stream except for the first like 10 minutes or so. But yeah, Kraken, are you still here? You were asking about round rooms. Would you like to see some upcoming teasers to show you what the round rooms will be like? In fact, I'm sure every one of you would like to see some of these if you haven't. I'm sure many of you have seen these videos, but some of you may have not. Hey, Stormy, how are you? I met you over in Cartographer's channel, right? Well, I appreciate you dropping by. Always nice to see a familiar face. I do love that about this community. Like, I find Bane on other streams all the time, too. Bane and I will we'll run into each other probably once or twice a month on other streams, because I just bounce around to all sorts of D&D and tabletop streamings, especially ones that have Dungeon Alchemist maps in their stream. I try to support them. I'm always, like, lurking silently. I'm like the deadly, deadly Prius. So essentially, I will troll through Twitch streams and look for anyone using Dungeon Alchemist. Whether they're on a Dungeon Alchemist feed, or they're playing D&D or Pathfinder and have Dungeon Alchemist. But in all honesty, I just love supporting the community members that support us. You're using our product in your channel, in your stream, whether you're streaming DA or you're just using the maps in your campaign. That means the world to us. As an indie company of less than 10 people, you know, word of mouth is pretty important for us. So when people are using our product on their streams and their content creation and their campaign, sharing it with their players, etc., their community, it does help us quite a bit. And so I like to support where I can. I'll drop in, chat, hang out, you know, provide feedback on map making where I can, or give advice and answer questions about our updates. Because usually GMs are like, oh, when's this feature coming out? Almost every time I drop into a stream, people want to know when, you know, round rooms or whatever. I'll be honest with you, I don't think there'll ever be a really solid relationship between Wizards of the Coast and DA. From what I understand is they reached out to them a number of years ago to try and showcase what we had as a map-making utility and try and work with them and maybe offer some sort of integration with their systems or whatever. And apparently the meeting just wasn't necessarily quite what the DA team expected, and it doesn't seem like it's ever really going to go anywhere. Chaotician writer, right? I feel like I've lurked in your streams quite a few times as well. I mean, honestly, there's probably we could probably count on, you know, at least a handful of people watching right now whose streams I've lurked or supported in the past at one point or another. But yeah, I really love, you know, networking and supporting our community how I can. As the community manager, it makes sense to be out there hyping y'all up. I will say this, we actually are going to be in PaizoCon next month. We do have really good relations with Pathfinder and Paizo. We have a panel, myself and Wim will be doing a panel next month during PaizoCon. There is some dates and information. I think it's the 28th is ours. I'm going to get more info about it. So yeah, expect to see us during PaizoCon, which I believe is an all online convention. It's hosted between their like Discord and their Twitch or something. But yeah, the devs have a special place in their heart for Pathfinder and Paizo, and so I think they do have a pretty decent relationship with them, and I'm hoping with time that grows and you know, becomes more elaborate. Now, kind of getting back to this teaser that you're seeing in front of you, I would like to point out just a few things that are in this video that you may not have noticed. So, first off, the ability to manipulate the shaping of the wall beyond just squares. So, diagonal, sharp cuts, round cuts. You can have protrusions that are like bump outs like you see here, or you can cut in like a bite or a cookie cut into the house or building. You can rotate the structure before you generate it. You'll be able to raise the structure up and down before you generate it. You'll be able to move the structure before you generate it. Once generated, it's fixed in position. But all of these things you can do before you generate the structure. which gives you so much more control in DA, more than you've had ever. It's going to change DA. It's going to flip it up on its side if our community has anything to do with it. The amount of maps and versatility this tool set will offer once this releases will be insane. I know that people in our community are just salivating at the possibility to make all these intricate shaped buildings that they just couldn't before. Yeah, this is true. Remy says, so all of these big, huge updates, they consider these foundational steps, micro steps towards larger goals. So these things are goals towards building multi-level structures and, multiple floors, multi-level exports, roofing, all of these little things lead up to that, and they consider them little steps. Now, I will say this update, Magic, tackles some of the most impressive feature list and quality of life improvements out of any update we've had so far. It's been the most technically challenging, and as a result of which, it's taken the most time. Oh, really? Yeah, sometimes the Twitch mobile app can be a bummer. What I can recommend in Twitch, if it's struggling, lower the video quality of the video feed, because you can set it to like 1080-60, 720-60, or 480-60. And when you do that, it helps tremendously, especially if you're on mobile data or maybe the Wi-Fi you're on isn't that great. But there are so many quality of life features being packed into this update. It's insane. The scale. Wim the other day on stream mentioned that there are going to be roughly 600 new assets in the update. And they're actually actively testing the assets right now to make sure they look good, play good, work good, function right. So I'm very excited with the progress of that as well. But I will say that that unfortunately the bugs we've been encountering the last couple of weeks have essentially set us back. We're looking at most likely not even launching in May at this point. And that was literally just a few days change. Because the other day, the talks were like last week of May, and now it's like we don't even know if we'll make it into before end of June. I'm going to be straight up honest, I found a very big bug. I was talking about this earlier today on stream, and some of you may have missed it. This bug was only present in my build, which would be more close to a final build, like what you would see in DA. Not necessarily a dev build that's behind the scenes. The development build in Unity is totally different than a finalized build, like my beta build. And this issue is that essentially, we hit the object limit for Unity in DA. And normally, like a video game wouldn't have this problem because it loads individual levels, and the individual levels have different objects and assets on them to compensate for that object limit. But DA is just one massive level. So it's like all of the assets load simultaneously, and we actually hit the other upper limit, so we're going to fix that. Going to take some changes to our Unity build and a few other things, so it's going to be a little bit intricate. 8 months? No, we had an update at the end of November, Swifty. So it's actually been about 6 months. But yeah. Well, I from my understanding, our Unity build is rather old when we haven't updated it because, updating your Unity build can cause a lot of problems, but we have to. Raid, right? We just got to get a can of Raid for the devs. That should solve it. So I'm just being open and transparent. It looks like there's a delay that is pretty much put us back to a point where we have no idea how long it'll take to fix. And this delayed bug is huge. Dyro, I like it. So I really like what I've done here, but then I'm just realizing that this, like, extends out the back, and that one doesn't. Oh. Because I'm a dum-dum and put it too far back. Okay. So we've got some cool displays back here that kind of show off neat assets from DA. You work IT for the hospital and you use RAID to spray hard drives. That explains why the Wi-Fi at my wife's hospital was so awful. I'm just kidding, Dyro. Follow me for more Linus Tech tips. The Mechanical Turk is such a creepy asset. That's how you keep your servers bug-free. Daily doses of RAID. It is actually called that. So the first bug, so old programming used to be on paper sheets. It was paper that had holes punched in it, punch cards. And that's how they would program computer functions and machine functions. And in fact, the first programmers, many of them were women. Programming became more a male-dominated thing as time went on. But the first bug happened when a bug actually got punched in the punch card and smashed into it and ruined it. And there was a bug in the programming. But that kind of punch card programming is still relevant and used in a lot of different industries today to a degree, like looms, sewing. There's tools out there that you can do like essentially punch card programming and then do a whole product with it. Yep, exactly. Yes, it was designed for looms initially. And if I recall, Nintendo, like in the 80s, they made a Nintendo loom or something. It's a really obscure Nintendo product that actually used a similar kind of punch card style thing to help you weave out like blankets and scarves and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Now you gotta remember, Nintendo didn't start in gaming. They used to make like home appliances and then eventually got into gaming, if I'm not mistaken. Like gaming, their first foray into gaming was like playing cards and dice and dominoes, stuff like that. But no, you are absolutely correct, Stormy. That is what, like, the first bugs in computers were. Hey, Jack, how you doing, buddy? So, I'm looking at this. I'm thinking of what kind of finishing touches I want to put. I'm going to put these paintings on the opposite side, because I think that was great. So, what we did here is put these little displays. One says Abandoned Ruins, which was the first update we did when I joined the team. Then Fata Morgana, Winter Wonderland, Everything is Lava, the Treasury, and then finally the print and delivery update, which we did in November. Honestly, the way you say that, it just sounds like you're hazing a new IT employee. But the thing is most IT employees should know better because they had, like, specific training. But, like, when we used to work fast food, we used to haze new employees. We'd be like, hey, can you go in the freezer and get ice mix or things like that? And just kind of, like, you know, little things like that. I'm glad you're feeling better, Jack. I'm really sorry that you're not feeling the greatest, buddy. I'll be honest, this map is mostly done. It's just finishing touches at this point. So, but the thing is like, did they treat you like Jen from the IT crowd when you were the new employee? Yeah, copy, paste. This is ridiculous. But it's working. So, you know. Can't dog it if it works. Oh, you know, like a little mop and bucket and a warning sign? That's interesting. I also have this one back here is the only room left that isn't done. This one's under construction. Oh man, so I worked at Best Buy, right? Years ago. And I worked at Best Buy when they launched their Geek Squad computer repair. Like, essentially, they offered computer repair, and Geek Squad was they just rebranded the computer area and made everyone dress up like nerds. And that was it. So, essentially, I worked in the computer sales floor and the digital camera area, and I'd worked closely with the Geek Squad for a number of years. And then I'm transferred to the Geek Squad. In the last couple of years, I worked at Best Buy and essentially just did computer repairs because I got sick of sales. And I would do home installations for TV, computer, and computer repairs at the store, etc. But I kid you not, people would bring in computers that were disgusting inside. And I'm not talking about the content of the computer. I'm talking about the contents of the inside of the case. Okay? I have seen dead mice in computer cases. I've seen a case completely infested with roaches. I have seen a case so full of dust that literally it was caked into every crevice. It was like a block of dust. During that time, I dealt with everything imaginable. A live snake, that one's new. But, you know, I wouldn't doubt it. I one time helped a lady at the counter who insisted that we sell her a DVD rewinder. Think about that for a minute. Now, there was VHS rewinders. I understand the logic behind this. There was literally a device that sole purpose was to quickly rewind VHS cassettes so you didn't have to occupy your VCR to rewind it so you could just watch another film. Because they would play a tape, and the tape had to be rewound before you could start it over. It wasn't like chapters on a DVD that you could just skip. Okay, so this lady argued with me for the better part of an hour that she needed a DVD rewinder. Well, I'm glad you're getting into it. I haven't gamed the last few days because I've been busy with work. But if I do get on in the next few days, I'll ping you. Sound good? No, she was elderly and insisted. I've also had people come in that there was a brand of printer, it's still around, Epson, they still make printers, they're pretty popular. And she came in, or actually it was a dude this time, he came in and he was like, I need Espen printer cartilages. Serious face. Espen, first off, is a scent for men. It's like a cologne. Okay. Printer cartilages. So, I don't know, bone? Cartilage? Whatever. Anyway, it was very interesting to say the least, working with people when you work in electronics for a living and deal with people who know nothing about electronics. Woo! Nah, he was just old. It makes me laugh, though. You know? I love those stories from my youth, because I was probably like 18 to mid-20s working there, and I swear I dealt with some of the funniest stuff at these stores. So, we gotta just look at this map in all its majesty. I'm pretty sure this is, like, done. I'm gonna put a couple finishing touches, like maybe some more, like, signs up, like little posters that maybe say a letter of the hall, like this is A, this is B, and then we could put a number on each of these or something out in front, or I don't know. But maybe so it's more organized. We could also put lights out in front in the hallways. But overall, I really... Wow, Swifty. So yeah, he essentially just didn't know the technology didn't need to rewind. And that's exactly what happened with this elderly person. She assumed that her DVDs needed to be rewound, and she was sick of, I'm assuming, rewinding them manually in the DVD player and wanted a DVD rewinder. But hey, to each their own, you know? I really like this map. I think what I'm going to do is save it. Okay? We're going to hang out for the next few minutes, just talk DA and share some teasers before the stream ends. I'm really happy where this has come. I do think it needs a little bit of finishing touches art-wise. But overall, I think I'm ready to put a description to this and share it to the workshop. And then I'll update it every few weeks, adding a new, the new rooms. So as we get a new winner or two, we'll add new rooms. But I would like to point out there are 47 complete rooms. Each room has 5 images. So a custom art piece on the outside with a QR code going to the listing of the map on Steam Workshop, the name of the map, the creator, a top-down map, images of the map, and then cool assets from the map on display. So essentially, you could check out these maps, subscribe to them right from your phone. It is a museum. A museum. So I'm just going to show you with my smartphone really quickly. With my phone, I guess. Sorry, I still call it a smartphone because when I worked at Best Buy, they launched smartphones, and I actually sold them. I worked at Best Buy Mobile for a number of years, too. And so smartphone was a distinction. There's flip phone and smartphone. And so I essentially just kind of have a carryover of still calling it a smartphone. So, okay. I don't know if you could see that, but it is triggering the QR code right there at the bottom. It says Steam Community in yellow. It's kind of hard to read. But, as you can see here, because I have the Steam app on my phone, it went right to the map, Aloe Vera's Bee Village. Like, you gotta admit, that's pretty cool. Oh my gosh, that would be awful. Swifty, that would be awful. Like, I don't understand why someone would do that at all to start with. Like, I get some people have, like, a candle obsession, like, they enjoy them, and candles are pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that, like, putting them on top of your electronics is probably not the way to go. If you get my drift. This is a new room type that'll be available in the next update. It's an extra dimensional room or a pocket dimension room. It also could be used kind of for blueprints if you think about it. It's been pointed out to me several times that in top-down this looks great as a blueprint of a room, as well as it kind of looks like Batman's Arkham vision, like his detective vision. So you could use this as sort of like maybe like an astral spying, like what is the spell where you can peek through and spy at someone? Gosh, what is it called? Scrying, right? Isn't it scrying? So Sailor Yugoth, pretty much rule of thumb, if there's a wall available that can be used in the wall types, it'll be available as a freestanding wall. Every wall type available is available as a freestanding wall once we launch. So if we add new walls, they're added as to the freestanding wall types. Have you seen those pictures, Swifty, that shows like the just like really horrible Nest computer rooms that it's just like beer cans everywhere, cigarette butts all over the desk, ash everywhere, trash everywhere, and then people are just like, love it. I think you can change the colors of them. So you possibly can change these from blue to green. I don't know. I don't know if it's just this one asset or all of them that you can do this. Museum reminds me of kind of does, you know what? It is kind of like Super Mario 64 in that the paintings open you to a new realm. You kind of skidoo or Blue's Clue skidoo into a new realm as you can scan this and go to them. In Mario 64, if you aren't aware, Mario would traverse realms by jumping into paintings. So you would have to get enough stars, and when you had enough stars, that would unlock the painting as a realm, and you could jump into that painting and go to a new realm and, you know, battle in that realm. I was more just kind of covering a wider reference of pop culture because not everyone knows, like, everyone knows who Mario is, but not everyone's played Mario. You know what I mean? Also, a lot of people know what Blue's Clues is because it was like a cultural phenomenon. It's still airing today. And, I mean, I watched it when I was a kid. My kid watched it. My siblings watched it growing up. It's been around. But yeah, so essentially you would teleport into the painting and go to that realm, and each of these rooms gives you a way to add that map, open it up in DA, do just that. Surprisingly, no, many people weren't alive when that console launched. And maybe just don't have access to one because they become rarer and rarer as time progresses. I guess they could play through, like, what do they call them? Rips or whatever? Skill issue, right? Switch emulator. There's a Switch emulator? Dang. Oh, wait. Switch has their own emulator built in where you can buy their own old games, right? Hey, Highland Lass, how are you? Yeah, the emulator in the Switch. So it's not a third... There was a third-party Switch emulator, but didn't they just get shut down? Like major cease and desist and fines and stuff? I just read about it. Let's show some more teasers. So, the new update will feature improvements, quality of life changes, and features to the object brush. 2 new brush types are being added. As you can see, there is a circle brush, so you can quickly drop the objects in a circle. This is great if you want to make like a quick little goblin fort, or maybe a fairy ring of mushrooms, or a circle of skulls, or, you know, lanterns, anything really. You can quickly organize them in a circle, and you can adjust the sizes and the heights and stuff. There's a lot of parameters to determine the randomness of how it lays out these objects. Rotation, size, height, etc. All of these things can be adjusted before you use the brush. And additionally, there is going to be a line brush. I wish I had video of it, but imagine you could just free form draw S's or V's or any shape you want. So you could draw this fence in any shape you desire. You just freehand it. Does that make sense? Yes, of course. They're objects, so you can delete portions or just use the object eraser to quickly delete portions to have an opening. I am sounding a lot better, thank you. Yes, I'm feeling much better than I was last week. I was so sick last week, and I was just fighting through it on stream. So you're watching Stargate Atlantis and actually not getting into it? Wait a second. Do you have a fever? Because Stargate Atlantis is awesome. But I will say the first 2 seasons, the first season kind of drags until the later episodes. As you get into the defense of Atlantis, it starts picking up. And then after that, the seasons are just a lot more engaging. But I will say I love watching Atlantis in tandem with Stargate SG-1 chronologically, and you have to bounce back and forth to really get the best experience. And there's like a watch order out there somewhere on Reddit, and it's on a Google Drive. I can't remember exactly the exact watch order because it's hundreds of episodes, but oh man. Yeah, honestly, once Ronan is added to the cast, the show picks up significantly. I feel like the action, they kind of dialed in the story, where they were going with it. The Wraith had solidified themselves as an enemy. Really? You get bored of Later Atlantis? And Later Atlantis, in my opinion, is where it gets the most enticing. But I can understand that. See, Universe is boring in the beginning because it's more focused on crew drama, because that's what they have, is everyone's just kind of flung into this situation and has to survive. Instead of volunteering and being picked for this mission, they were just randomly have to be there and survive. Many of them don't have the skills they need to survive. Some of them are overcompensating for others because they have many skill sets. Universe, I do think it picks up, sadly, too late. The show got canceled right as soon as it starts getting good. If they had another season, they really would have gotten their footing. But I do think that was right around when the writer's strike happened and a lot of different things were happening in Hollywood that essentially changed the way TV was created for forever. And now we don't really get like long seasons anymore. We only get like 8-episode seasons, 10-episode seasons, partially because due in part to writers wanting a more feasible writing agreement for seasons, and shows not wanting, like, production companies not wanting to spend tons more on a show that may not have proven itself. And they essentially just focus on the story, no more fluff, like, no extra, like, bits and pieces. There's really no, like, supporting information that builds up character anymore. My YouTube chat is not showing again? Darn it. What's the question? I am watching it. That's weird. I am looking right at it. It's not coming up in the stream, but I am looking at it. It is weird that it's delayed. That is strange for sure. What was the question? Okay. Can the circle brush work with walls? So the circle brush works with objects. Any object that is in the object brush menu, which, essentially these objects right here. So there's no walls in here yet. But there are some things that kind of can work. So those spikes, for instance, I imagine the circle brush can be used in a certain way. Okay, so you won't need to worry about that. You'll be able to draw round rooms in the next update and attach walls and windows to them. So that's an independent feature from the object brush. So when you're drawing rooms with the AI, you'll be able to shape the room before you generate it. And then if the room is rounded or angled, you can attach rounded and angled doors to those, and they'll open and close. Wim the other day confirmed that something like 98% will essentially of the windows and doors will work in the new update. There's some that have like extended bays, like a drawbridge or something. They just look weird when they merge together. They just don't look right. So, yes. You'll be able to attach round the doors. The normal doors and windows will attach to this and automatically bend. It's dynamically adjusting the wall or window, the door or window to that space. So we have dynamic windows and doors, essentially. Sorry that I missed that. The YouTube chat is very inconsistent today with the multi-stream feed, and I don't know why. I see it in the feed, but it's not there. It's like not showing up in the stream chat. Hmm. I just refreshed the chat. Yep, there it is. That fixed it. Okay. There we go. Weird. So, the chat, I refreshed the cache for it, and that fixed it right up. Oh, now it's gone. Great. Say something, someone. Help me out here. Let's see if it comes back. YouTuber, I need you to say something. Any one of you. The next damn challenge is 1 hour or less, Highland Lass. So you have 1 hour or less from the time you hit create on your map to make a map of any shape or size, any biome, any style. Just 1 hour or less. So this one's really on the honor system. I know we have the best community in the world, and I'm encouraging everyone to challenge themselves to be, bring forth their A game and make sure you spend only an hour or less making your map. So in the past, we've done 10 by 10. We've done many different themes that are focused on a specific build. This one gives you more creativity to make what you want, but you only have an hour to make it. One exception to the time. One exception to the time is you can plan out your map on paper, maybe draw out a sketch or write down some notes of what you want in the build before you start. So once you hit create, have your timer on your phone, put a timer for an hour and hit start, and then when it's done, hit save. And then you're done. So you have 1 hour to create a map, pretty much any styling. I'm glad we were able to fix the chat. Asmodeus or Seisu, if you notice that's happening in the future, will you let me know and I'll just refresh it? Yep, nope, so advanced notes and drawings on paper do not count towards your time. I'm gonna let you have a little bit of planning time, but once you hit create on the generate a new map, you have 1 hour to finish your build. I do think another great thing about this is because it's only 1 hour of commitment, most people, we might get more participation. There's people who put 20, 30, 40, 50 plus hours into their damn challenge entries. And I'm hoping if we limit the time, we'll likely get more entries as a result. But yes, necessity is the mother of all invention. And I said that Saturday when we were talking about it. I think putting a time crunch will bring out creativity in people. Alrighty. We are past the hour. It's 11:11. If you take a break, if you save and close DA, stop the timer. Obviously, you're not making a map when you're not making a map, right? I would encourage you to just do it in 1 hour and be done with it. And that way you're not breaking it up and making it more difficult on yourself. But, yeah. The damn challenge gallery is essentially done. What I want to do is do a couple more finishing touches. I'm going to add a couple paintings into the hallways. Maybe some, lettering or numbering for the aisles. This is A, B, C, D, E, F, and then so that way people are oh, I go to F and then go down this side. And then I'll label these as different letters as well, or numbers, whatever. You went to a goth club, how was that? That sounds interesting. Was it like that scene from The Matrix? When he goes to meet up with Trinity, and it's just essentially... I just don't know what a goth club would be like. I don't know. I've never been to one. It sounds interesting, to say the least. I will admit that I apologize. We didn't do a whole lot of map making today because it was just a lot of finishing touches. We did this one room. Added some paintings, some little finishing touches in the back here for decoration. The last thing that needs to be done is I'm going to put maps on these that are the export of the map and top down that has little icons on it that say you are here. So it kind of tells people where they're at. The Arcane Vampire's Ball. So was it like steampunk vampire? Or was it more like Castlevania? I feel like there's this whole diverse subculture of goths too, because there's probably like, you know, like vampire type goths and like Matrix type goth people and people who are like into these different sub pockets of goths culture. Like cyberpunk goths, etc. But I do feel like, you know, that's kind of where... And then you'll have, like, the Victorian-style goths that, like, wear the old-school dresses and, like, style clothing and stuff. Like, there is, like, some interesting subcultures there, to say the least. I'm always intrigued by other people's like culture and like things that people do for fun and like how people identify themselves and make themselves unique, because there's so many people nowadays, right? It's hard to be like a unique individual in today's society. So I love the ways that people like strive to help themselves like stand out and, you know, that's cool. Yeah, I guess so. You know, I never really thought of it. Goth is kind of just like a subgenre of, say, music. Realistically, I thought it was more like a culture, or you know, like a even a counterculture, if you will, or an embracing of like past culture meets new culture. I had a bit of an emo stint when I was like in middle school and high school. That's about as close as I ever got to like to that stuff. And I came from like a very staunch religious family too, so you could imagine me being into like rock or emo music or even like metal. Like my parents hated it. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons or Futurama. I wasn't allowed to play D&D. Satanic panic was all too real in my family household. As a result, I was a little repressed growing up, but now I'm just so open to other people's cultures and learning about them and understanding them. Like, to me, that's, like, awesome. Because I never got to understand them or really dive into them as a kid. So now I just ask tons of questions, get to know people's cultures, understand them, observe them. So like when they do like a haunted week or whatever, or like a scare week, but it's just goth themed straight up. That's pretty cool. All right, everyone, we're going to wrap up the stream. I appreciate everyone hanging out today. Bob's Tavern, a Simpsons home would be cool. Did you know there was a Simpsons style home, like a one-to-one recreation that was here in Vegas? The home still exists, but it's been gutted and redesigned interior, exterior, so it no longer looks like a Simpsons home. But it was part of like a promotion in the 90s, a giveaway to win a Simpsons themed home. Yes, you have 2 weeks to find an hour of time to make a map, is essentially. But don't wait till the last hour, because you'll be hating yourself. Procrastinators of the universe, unite, or not, whatever, do what you want. Maybe next week I'll consider it. All right, everyone. I had a blast today during Mapmaker Monday. Thank you for helping me do the finishing touches on this Damn Challenge gallery. It's been a momentous build over the last couple of months putting this together. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do some finishing touches and get it uploaded this week, and then by next Monday, we'll sit down and pick a theme together as a group. Going forward, we'll try not to do such momentous builds. It'll be smaller, focused builds that help our community learn building concepts. So how to build a cool community, like maybe an alchemist lair in a cave, or how to build an epic tavern, or, you know, themed builds going forward. Maybe, you know, how to build a chapel for your worshipers in your campaign. Whatever. Either way, thank you everyone for hanging out today, for watching, for supporting the stream. Whether you are actively chatting, lurking, giving suggestions and feedback, all of you are important to our community and mean the world to me. Remember, we'll be back with a stream on Wednesday across our various platforms. That is in our Discord, by the way, actually. So tongue-tied here. So the stream this Wednesday is office hours. It's hosted exclusively in our Discord. Then our next stream will be Saturday, which will be a multi-stream again, so pick your poison platform of choice, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, etc. Join us on your platform that you choose, and we'll see you there. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We'll see you next time I give a damn. Mac out. Bye! Sorry, Caillou, I gotta take off. I've got an appointment today I gotta get to. We'll see you later, brother. Have a good one.